Welcome back to UFC Ninja. Here's a peek at last week's betting results to get you ready for the Ninja's breakdown on the next card.
What up, guys? It's the Ninja. Last week was a fucking tough week of betting again. Wasn't like the first week where we hit every single bet. This week's going to be tough again to even pick a favorite. I'm giving my bets at the end of the podcast, so shout out to my producer for putting the shit out there. We're going to give you the breakdowns. If you're liking this shit, do what they tell you, like, subscribe, and fucking whatever else they tell you. Enjoy. Next up, Jessica Penne versus Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci. We're going to go with Baby Shark on this one. Okay, guys. We got another senior citizen battle for you. Just to fill the gaps, a little bit of Hitler sending the old men of Germany to fill the gap between the advancing Soviets in 1945. But, you know, it's a little bit lighter scale. These men aren't being sent to their death completely, so let's not completely compare it to that here. We got Alexei, the boa constrictor Olynyk, versus Ilir, the sledgehammer Latifi. Man, so we all know Olynyk. Dude chokes out everybody. Everybody knows he goes for submissions, and he still gets them anyways. Latifi, wrestling background, either got sledgehammer name from looking like a sledgehammer, or his fists are like sledgehammers, you know, probably both. But Olynyk's nickname is fucking authentic, man. The boa constrictor is right for him, and no matter who he's against, besides like Derek Lewis, when he was on top of Derek Lewis, he couldn't choke him out. He was really close. You heard Derek Lewis in the interview after the fight. He was like pretty funny. He's like, "Oh, fuck, man, I couldn't breathe, you know, and I was just hoping the round was gonna end." And fucking anyway, Derek Lewis made it out of that, but otherwise, Olynyk usually gets the choke or the submission of some sort. So whatever, you know, maybe grab that coin again, but possibly have a submission bet here on Olynyk just because it's likely, yeah? Alright, guys, light heavyweight fight coming up. Maximus Grishin against Philip Monstro Lins. Lins, he's 37. Dude's got grappling style. He likes to go out there in the first round and go for a takedown, get it up against the fence, try to get it to the ground, get on top, and actually try to get a rear naked choke right away. He's got decent cardio, throws huge punches, pretty much uses his energy every time for his punches, doesn't throw no bullshit. Doesn't really have good kinetics though. He kind of loses the good exchanges where he should be winning those if he's going to really advance his grappling into the fight. So the fact that he loses those kind of sucks for him because that's his hardcore game, his main game to win. And if he can't use a good kinetics to win the scrambles and make the right choices inside of there too, it's going to be tough for him to beat Grishin. Grishin's got okay grappling, wrestling defense, good at evading and backing up and defending it against the fence, uses the underhooks and just tries to push away and get away. We saw him against William Knight, actually watching that dumbass fight right now, and it's pretty weak, you know. Knight threw him, actually slammed him one time, but Knight couldn't keep top pressure. Makes Grishin's ground game look good, and Knight, we all know, is just bullshit, but Grishin could get exposed with the grappling if Lins just gets it going hard in the first round and gets a rear naked. We know Grishin had been subbed a couple of times early in his career. Beyond that, Grishin's more of a counter striker, doesn't really get too aggressive. Lins is going to be much more aggressive and pushing forward all the time. Likes to push forward when he can. So we could see Lins win by decision also. We could see Lins win with a sub early. I don't really see anything else going on besides maybe this fight going to decision if it gets out of the first round. So that's all I got for this one, boys. Enjoy this fight, though. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll bring you a little bit of excitement for the night. We got Jaquin Neto BJJ Silva versus Jesse, the body snatcher, Bronson. So, Silva in the first half here, jiu-jitsu background. Dude got that fucking sick-ass KO, though, against Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon was KO'd on the fence with his chin hanging. His eyes were twisted. The referee, like, called the fight. He's like, fucking stop this shit. But he's looking at the dude, like, KO'd on the fence. He's just waits for the doctor. Doesn't try to catch the dude or nothing. But luckily, Jared Gordon regained consciousness on his own and still kept his feet underneath him and got out of that situation just fine. So Silva is pretty explosive in the first round, too. He's got pretty sick knee he could do. Switch knee and a big jump knee. Big kick to the front, right to the face. Could happen here. Hit Bronson early in the first round. And on Bronson's side, he did get a nice finish against Nicholas Dalby. He's got good jiu-jitsu defense as long as he's got energy. He's 36 years old now. Could get a TKO here or KO because he's pretty technical and like a decent counter striker. A little bit tighter than Silva is. Silva's striking's a little bit looser, and come second round, Bronson's technique could barrel out and finish up Silva, or just outpoint him. But Bronson is off the horse juice now. He's no longer getting them shots, so he's a little bit lesser of a person than he used to be. Silva's coming up younger, possibly still sneaking in some juice on his side. He looks like kind of a bull in there early, and he's determined. Silva's got a determined look on his face when he gets in there. Bronson's more experienced for sure, so with this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to bet the inside the distance or not yet, but first round is going to be exciting as hell. Second round, we might see Bronson. Otherwise, third round, looking at Silva. But that's about it on this one for now. Let's hopefully see some excitement in the first round. Next up, Julia Stolienko versus Chelsea Chandler. And we're going to go with Chelsea Chandler on this one. Next thing you need to do is grab your favorite coin and give it a flip. We got Brendan All-In Allen versus Christoph Nico Jackal. And I gave Christoph that nickname of Nico. Christoph, he's had 15 or more UFC fights. Been around for a long time. Brendan Allen, on the other hand, shit the bed versus Chris Curtis, as we all remember. Fucking loser. He's also been around for a while, though, so like I said, grab a coin, but I'm seeing Jackal come out on top on this one. He's got better fight IQ than Allen, and he's more willing to fight, more willing to embrace the octagon than Allen. Allen's more willing to give up than anything else. So let's go with Jackal on this one. Well, I think this next fight is the main event of our channel. It's going to be Randy the Zohan Costa versus Guido Ninja Canetti. Well, anytime you get to see a ninja in the octagon, it's obviously a fucking highlight of our night on this channel. So, the ninja, though he is getting older, he's 42 years old. He does have ninja-type strikes where he has big single strikes and they're meant to destroy shit. So we know Randy's got his leg out there out front, and we know the ninja goes for that front leg early with them powerful fucking kicks. So let's hope that the ninja hits that leg early, just takes Randy Costa the fuck out, drops his chin down, and then maybe ninja smokes his chin. It was kind of cool when his last fight, he hit that Chris red-haired dude with the front leg kick right away, and then he pointed down there at his leg right after it, which is a kind of a ninja technique, a distraction. And then he went high with his left hook real quick and two punches up top. So he made him look low and then went up top right after that. So fucking reason this guy's called the ninja, and that was pretty tits right there, because exactly what they teach you in ninjutsu is to distractions and then strikes to finish him. So also has a big left hook that he uses to finish people when the ninja's got somebody hurt. He's really focused in there. He goes in there, and he's older, like I said, but he is a focused motherfucker in there. So he puts it on when he puts it on, and he chills back when he chills back. And Costa, on the other hand, hasn't fought in like a year. He got fucking dropped in his last two fights in the UFC, both second rounds, TKOs, KOs. Kind of just get wilted, both body shots really, but he wilted and gave up and just doesn't have great fight IQ either compared to the Ninja. So I do think this fight would end in a KO or TKO either way. But since we're on the Ninja side, we're going to go for sure with a KO TKO from the Ninja. First round, round and a half. And otherwise, another bet would be maybe this fight to just end in a KO or TKO also. Alright, guys. If you made it this far, you made it to the martial arts story of the week. Welcome to the dojo. And this story is going to go back to about 2001. And it's going to be me in the 9th grade, I believe. So one of my buddies ended up scrapping this kid. So it started in school, apparently in a class. My buddy was giving somebody else a piece of gum, and this kid wanted one, or was mad at my buddy for not giving him one. My buddy gave one of his friends one, and this kid didn't get one. He was pissed off or something, wanted to fight him after school. So my buddy's redneck buddy, chop wood and shit growing up. We used to ride our BMX bikes around. Anyways, after school, ends up fighting this kid right outside our school there. And I was right there, must have had lockers by my buddy or something, or walked out to school with them and ran into this kid, and scrap started right there. The kid was a karate black belt at this point, so we were 9th grade, however old that is, but black belt in karate, and he did okay. He was landed some strikes on my buddy. He even threw some leg kicks. He was kicking him in the leg, and probably some body kicks too. He did throw some head kicks, but man, they were weaker head kicks. Man, it's coming back to me now as I talk about this, but my buddy toughed it out and threw his own punches, and my buddy is tough, and after about, I don't know, a minute and a half or something, and the other kid, the black belt, got tired, he was fatigued and had nothing that could hurt my buddy anymore. My buddy was smashing him, and ended up taking him down basically, and was beating up on with what punches he had left in him, and smashing this dude in the face with him fully mounted, and it was pretty cool to see my buddy smash that guy right there. And then a teacher came out, I guess, and broke it up, but nothing happened. I think actually my buddy's older brother pulled him away before the teacher got out there, and might have got away scot-free until the next day at least, but yeah, it was pretty badass. So, karate black belt got his ass beat by a redneck tough guy that chopped wood and BMX biked and didn't really know how to throw punches, and was certainly never in martial arts. Like I said, his dad was a total redneck, and it was just a good martial arts story for you, but shows that toughness and really cardio was what did it. And the other kid didn't have enough to put my buddy away, so my buddy was a thicker guy too, much thicker than me even, tough guy. And his brother ended up fighting like amateur mixed martial arts too, now that I think about it, his older brother. But shout out to my buddy Dan. Fucking love you, Danny. Alright, this next one, I'm not seeing any odds yet on Bovada for this, but Mike Beast Boy Davis versus Slava Claus. And, Slava does the dance at the end when he wins. We're obviously hoping if he wins, we'll get to see that dance. But he got control of his last fight against Mark Diakese. Diakese's got the kickboxing foundation. So that's something to worry about here against Mike Davis. Mike Davis showed he could take down Mason Jones. Couldn't control him, but he showed he has good takedowns and ability to wrestle when he needs to. Davis also has a boxing foundation, but he's got good striking. He's got jump knees, hard knees to the body too. Guy hits hard with his shots. He's got good technique, pretty decent reach, and Slava is also a striker, so it's going to be a battle, but man, I'm thinking Davis with the kicks and the punches could be a little slicker than Slava Claus here. And if that's the case, Davis could finish him if they just go outright for a battle. He did put quite a beating on Mason Jones, and Mason's a thick motherfucker. He's twice as thick as Slava Claus is here, so just don't see Slava taking the same fucking punishment. And Mike Davis should have enough energy in him to match Slava Claus, or at least take him out of there, have enough to get rid of him. So this one, I think we're going to go with Mike Davis one way or another. Well, indeed, we have an interesting fight next. Super Sodiq Youssef versus Don Sheinisch. Checking out this Don Sheinisch dude's newcomer here. First fight to the UFC. Fighting Sodiq, that seems kind of like a big jump, but Sheinisch has got a big following on the East Coast. Definitely a good wrestler with good top control. Sodiq's ground game is not very good. Gets taken down pretty easily. He's kind of slow to move, and he's kind of plotty also. But he does have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So we're going to see how that comes into play, I think, in this fight. The odds are fucking saying, like, nothing like that. I think it was, like, minus 800 and plus 475. Minus 700 plus 475 right now. But I don't know. I think that Don Sheinisch has that wrestling and takedown ability and top control. Maybe he could put it on Sodiq if Sodiq doesn't land that right hand or big kick to the head, because that's all Sodiq's got going for him, and he doesn't throw that much. His volume is not very high, so he's also not the greatest scrambler. He's strong and can do some scrambling, but Sheinisch could prove himself here to be a hell of a grappler. We've proven that Sheinisch in his past fights, I've seen that he got clipped, able to come back, but dude really has gotten clipped hard, and his chin's probably getting weaker every fight. But for now, he seems to be able to recover, and maybe if he does that, he would control this against Sodiq. So this might be the underdog of the week here. Look into this a little bit more, but fuck, man. This could be a good fight, too, especially with this newcomer just popping in. This could be pretty fun, and could give Super Sodiq a hell of a fight and give us something to watch. So let's think about this, but man, I might just go with Sheinisch fucking on this one. Shit, alright guys, well, I fucking keep thinking this card's gonna be shit, but I keep coming across these good fights, I guess. We got Raoni Barcelos versus Trevin 5-Star Jones. Man, so cool. I like Barcelos. I've liked him for a while. He is good in there. He's smart. He's quick. He's got a little bit of that fast twitch, but he's also got good cardio. Wrestling, grappling, like jiu-jitsu background. He's been like a 5-time champion in Brazil. Trevin Jones, on the other hand, he's got a jiu-jitsu background first and moving to the striking. He's more of a counter striker than anything. He doesn't really have much kicks, anything for fakes, feints, progressive striking game. Just mainly a counter striker, doesn't give up and is willing to take damage. Took a lot of damage. Actually took every ounce of damage that Valiev could give him, and then he knocked out Valiev and put him on the mat. It's pretty fucking badass and kind of sad for Timur. Trevin just showed that he was a badass because he took it all and didn't drop down to the mat and just cover up. He covered up on the fence, but didn't drop to his knees and give up. He kept fighting. Pretty much told Timur that he couldn't finish him, and then he finished him in the next round. Timur had nothing left. So against Barcelos, though, Barcelos is gonna evade a lot of that shots and not go as wild as Timur was and be more reserved. Barcelos is gonna just pick him apart and I think beat up on that front leg. Barcelos has got more kicking, kick him to the body, and he's gonna just break up Jones. Show that the striking is on another level than Jones's, and just all around competition and martial arts, Barcelos is gonna be better here. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm not sure about bets on this one yet, but we'll get to that later this week when I put them out. Okay, guys, just got tuned up for this one. We got a little bit of excitement going on here. We got Johnny Sexy Mexi Castaneda versus Daniel Wildcat Santos. This is going to be an exciting fight. Especially, I think, the first round of this one's going to be pretty exciting. First round and a half. Daniel Santos had his first fight there in the UFC. We've seen what kind of style he's got. Really explosive. lots of power in all of his strikes. Goes really hard in the first round. He's got a good arsenal of strikes, too. He's got that straight elbow. He did a spinning wheel kick. He's just different spinning attacks that he tried. And also has good technique on his kicks and punches. He's pretty aggressive. And against his Julio Arce there in his first fight, he was able to get picked apart by Arce, who was a former boxer. But the counter-striking was there against Santos. He got pieced up. So Castaneda talked about that in his last interview after he won his last fight against Miles Johns. He was talking about counter-striking and how he had lost a fight against, forget who that was, but he'd lost that fight due to counter-striking, and he was working on that during the Miles Johns fight in the octagon. It's pretty crazy to hear somebody say that he's working on his skills in a real fight at that level. Usually you do that in sparring or something, but the only way to get that kind of experience is doing it live. That's some serious focus he had in there too to be able to keep working on that. So it's pretty cool to hear the incredible dedication he has and focus for the sport. I really liked that. Against his next opponent here, Santos, who just pressures with big punches, Castaneda showed he could avoid Miles Johns' power shots. Just get hit with a couple jabs and straights, but Castaneda knows those aren't going to drop him, and that's the kind of thing you're going to know about a fight. You're going to take a couple of shots. Just how big of shots are you going to make yourself take? And in return, Castaneda's getting the reads on Santos every time. He's going to be patient. He's inside there, but still outside of the power. Getting his reads on Santos, letting Santos empty his tank with those power shots. And then Johnny's going to fake, feint, kick him up, touch him up. Johnny fights as like a taller, lankier fighter like that, has range, and it works out for him. It's really a great style. He does have a little bit of extra reach for his height, but Santos will get picked apart from those counters, in my opinion. I think that Castaneda has really good eyes for that, and he's reading it at the shoulder instead of at the punch level, so Castaneda's seeing it before it happens. And the slower Santos gets after the first round and a half, Castaneda's going to be able to put it on him more. There could be some action, though, in the first round, man. If Castaneda's firing back at Santos, and this is maybe Castaneda thinks he's going to go early with them counters and just try to put Santos down, Santos could put him down. Could be either way in the first round and a half. Maybe looking at a bet there on that, 1.5 and under. But we'll see. Really thinking, looking at towards Castaneda on this one. Small story about Castaneda. My producer told me one of his buddies or his buddy's friend worked with some girl, and this girl was dating Sexy Mexi, and apparently she broke it off there a couple years ago or whatever it was, and Johnny was maybe getting around a little bit too much outside of the octagon, maybe in a couple other bedrooms. Now, there's two sides to every story, so either way, we know Johnny's got good cardio. He's getting it done in the bedroom and in the gym. Excellent conditioning in his last fight as well. So we'll stick here. I'll stay on Castaneda's side. I'd like to have Johnny on the podcast someday. I think he's going up. He's fucking focused, and he's getting older every day. So I appreciate his intelligence and fight IQ and dedication to the sport when he's in there. He's really respectful on the mic and shit, and he's a badass. I like Johnny. So we're going to go with Johnny here over Santos in a pretty exciting fight for this card. Yeah, guys. All right. Rude Boy Randy Brown versus Francisco Masaranduba Trinaldo. And if you're wondering what Francisco's nickname means, because I was, well, this motherfucker right here looked it up. So, dude is referred to as a wood, and not just any wood. It's actually one of the hardest woods in the world, with a Janka hardness rating of up to 3,190. Compare that to oak, which there's a shit ton of oak around where I live, and oak is about 1,200, so 1,200 compared to the 3,100. This extreme hardness lends to its dimensional stability, long lifespan, and natural weatherproof properties. So basically, they're saying the dude's fucking made out of the hardest wood in fucking forest. Randy barking out there. But that's a badass nickname to have. Dude's 44 years old, got that high guard, keeps his hands up on the outsides, but he does leave the center open to strikes. So he could get hit by one of Rude Boy's big ass fucking front kicks to his face. That jab could be working on Francisco if Randy's throwing it. His corner's got to just talk him into it, pump him up into getting that jab going. They're both got good jiu-jitsu. Big shots coming from Trinaldo's side. He likes to pressure and just throws those big hooks. And we've seen Rude Boy avoid most of the hooks of Chaos Williams. Even though Williams did catch him with one in the first round and one in the third round and fucking put Randy down in the third round. The first one didn't quite drop him. But Randy's a loose fighter. He needs to keep his hands up to keep his shit rolling. And he dodges and bobs and weaves and kind of is pretty evasive. Moves backwards. Pretty defensively aware. He did put his head down into two of them hooks that Williams hit him with. He's kind of just getting lazy and trying to use a weaker head movement instead of moving back and being smarter. But jiu-jitsu wise, it's kind of a neutralization for me, except for Trinaldo with his nickname. I mean, being that kind of hardwood, don't see really him losing on the ground. He's just, how do you choke out a piece of wood with that kind of density? So, I hate to say it, but I'll go with Rude Boy on this one. Alright, well, technically the main event of the evening. Mackenzie Post-Mama Dern versus Xiaonan Yan of China. And we'll go with the Dern on this one. Hell yeah, guys. Here we go. All right. This week's bets for the week. Well, let's say our favorite of the week is going to be one of three, man. You can start with Castaneda, Mike Davis, or Raoni Barcelos. So running that into our next is our parlay. We're going to take all three of them in a parlay. The Barcelos, Davis, and Castaneda. Alright, for my producer's favorite bet, we're going to do the draw of the week is the Randy Brown versus Trinaldo. Francisco Trinaldo. So that fight's either going to be like violent and somebody's going to get finished, or it's going to be really fucking close and be a draw. Let's see, underdog of the week, I'm adding Don Sheinisch this week. Fights are at the Apex. Any fights at the Apex are more like a fight in an alleyway where nobody's watching. Anything can happen. It's just mano-a-mano, your body versus theirs. So you got to show up. Sheinisch will show up and fight Super Sodiq. And I don't think Super Sodiq's all that super. So let's hope Sheinisch comes through as our underdog this week. Legendary long shots of the week. We're taking the Ninja by TKO KO. Guido Canetti by KO. And also, of course, we're going to take Olynyk by sub. That motherfucker, that's a good chance that'll always come through. So, moving on to the props of the week. Not too many. I got Silva versus Bronson this week. Fight does not go the distance. I think Silva or Bronson, one of them are going to get TKO. And that fight will be stopped for sure. And it's cool. It's at the Apex, so I don't know what them odds are. Odds on any of this shit yet, but there you have it for the bets of the week. Let's fucking get it, boys. Good luck. Alright, till next week, guys. Life before death. Strength before weakness. Journey before destination. Keep it real.